Hi, Andrew McLeod here from HIP Strategic Consulting, and I'm excited to be here today to talk to you about mastermind groups and to discuss some of the benefits of joining a mastermind group. First, though, before we go there, I wanted to talk a little bit about where this concept of a mastermind came from. And Napoleon Hill is considered to be the founder of the idea in 1925, and he wrote about it in his book called Think and Grow Rich. Now, this is a classic book, and in it, Napoleon Hill talks about his principles of success, what makes entrepreneurs successful, and what sets the leaders in our world apart from others, and what are some of the key factors that have set them apart. And he speaks very highly of the concept of all of the major leaders, the presidents of the world, the people who are running Fortune 500 companies, running big businesses, that they all had groups of people that they met with regularly to discuss business issues or issues in their life that were getting in their way, and how would they overcome those. And so there were regular group meetings. They had a high level of confidentiality, and these groups often had different focuses depending on the people who were sitting in the group. So it was about diversity of ideas, and it was about just different things. So in a very broad perspective, that is what a mastermind is. It's the opportunity for people come together, share ideas, help each other, support each other, and grow things in a space that is safe. And so when we talk about the benefits of a mastermind group, you can already see that some of those benefits have been reflected in that sort of introduction. So the first one is there's a diversity of ideas. The broader the spectrum of people who are sitting around the table in a mastermind group, the broader the ideas that arise. And that diversity of ideas can often lead to innovation when we start to pick ideas out of other sectors and from different people about how they would approach a problem that we're currently facing. And we start to say, well, how would that look? How might I use that idea to apply it in my organization or in my life? All of a sudden, the options are bigger. And it isn't that somebody's saying, well, this is what you need to do. It's really that we're taking all those ideas that are being discussed and we're saying, how do I apply that in my world and in the space that I'm working? So the second one is the safe space to share. And this is a really important piece, because a mastermind is not effective if there isn't a high level of trust within the group. And we all know that trust is fragile. We all know that it takes a lot to build trust, and it also takes very little to break trust. And so one of the things that's set up very early on in any mastermind group, or at least any really good mastermind group, is a confidentiality agreement and a trust agreement that talks about, here's what this looks like. How are we going to interact with each other? And that's really, really important. So you need to, if you're looking at finding a mastermind group, make sure you're finding one where those kinds of things are discussed right up front. The third thing that I want to put out there is that a mastermind group has unwavering support and encouragement. So somebody may ask you questions, but they're always there to say, how can we lift you up? How can we help you grow? How can we help you move forward? And sometimes that commitment just isn't about sharing ideas. Sometimes I've seen some really great partnerships arise out of mastermind groups, and I've seen really good opportunities where people have been able to say, let's see what we can do together. And if I connect you with so-and-so, that will mean this for you. And so that support and encouragement comes in different forms. It's not always about emotional support. Sometimes it's about connecting with resources. Sometimes it's about providing you with a bit of time. Sometimes it's about, hey, let's sit down and have this discussion separately because I think I've got some tools that might be helpful for you. So it's about sharing of expertise. And what happens within that group is that because of that high level of trust, these individuals bond. And that's really important. The fourth thing that's really important, and that's a real great benefit of the mastermind group, is the accountability component and people who ask hard questions. So accountability is really about, if you've said you're going to do something, we're going to check in with you and see how that's gone, what's stopping you, and what's gone really well, so we can learn and move forward. And if something shifted, that's okay, but you need to be able to explain what shifted and why you've let that piece go. So there's an accountability about following through on what you've said you're going to do to make sure that you're growing your business or making change in your own personal life. The second component of this one is the hard questions. Mastermind groups and people in the masterminds, because the level of trust is so high, are able to ask the really hard questions, the ones that all of us don't want to answer. So what's stopping you? What are you avoiding? What is that piece that keeps repeating? Because there's a pattern here that I can see. So what is the fear underneath that? And often it comes down to a fear that stops us, or it's a mindset that's keeping us from moving forward. And so the people in the mastermind group will start to pinpoint them and say, hey, we need to take a look at this. And they're going to do it with positive intentions, and they're going to do it gently, and they're going to do it, but they're going to ask the question. And so that will put you in a position where you almost have to face it. You almost have to say, oh, I see what you see. How am I going to work through this? And then you can ask that question, any suggestions on how I can work through it? Which again goes back to that support and encouragement. And in my experience as well, what happens when you ask those hard questions is that if people know that it's going to be a hard thing for you to work on, they'll often say, hey, call me when you need support, or I'm going to touch base in a couple of days. So, and then the fifth thing that I really want to just touch base on, and I sort of alluded to already, is that mastermind groups they become a very tight-knit group because of the high level of trust, because of the time they spend digging into saying, how can we help each other? Where are you getting stuck? And the opportunities to become vulnerable in that group in a safe space. All of a sudden, the relationship that you have with these people is very deep. It's one where anything can be said without judgment, without fear of judgment, without fear of anyone coming back and saying, well, you said, right? You might get the you said, but then it's an accountability piece. So what happens within the mastermind groups that I think is so, so important, and I think it's something that most of us are striving for, we don't want to feel alone anymore. We want to know that there's other people struggling with the same kinds of things that we are. We want to know that we belong somewhere, and that there are people out there who accept us for who we are and what we stand for, no matter what. It's not about judgment, it's about honoring, it's being open, and that's what happens in a good mastermind group. And I can speak to this because in the time that I've been running mastermind groups, I've been blessed with having one particular group that's been absolutely solid. And I can tell you that these women will go to do everything they can to help each other out. Their relationships are solid. They're built on trust. They've come through some really hard times together. They've shed tears together. And I can't tell you how much that bonds somebody. So I really highly recommend, if you're looking at a mastermind group, that you consider, or looking to grow your business and you're looking to find a group of people who can help you do that by providing different perspectives, that you seriously consider a mastermind group. Now, just because I have to put in a plug, I do offer mastermind groups. I would encourage you to give me a call if you want to learn a little bit more about them. We have a variety of different options, so please give me a call. And if a mastermind group isn't going to work for you, we do have an accountability ally program as well that blends in a lot of the pieces of the mastermind process, but doesn't have the group support in the same way. So you have somebody working as a mentor with you versus a group of people coming together who are all sharing their challenges and trying to figure out how to move forward. My contact information is included here. Please do feel free to give me a call or to book a discovery session to find out a little bit more about how I work to help women entrepreneurs be wildly successful on their own terms. Have a great day.